This Declassification Center. I believe I have the best question on this topic, and I have not seen it addressed. And the best question on the topic of declassifying the Mar-a-Lago documents is, can a president declassify things by his actions, meaning it's obvious that he meant it to be declassified? And I think the answer is yes. Now, I'm not the constitutional expert, but this is what I read today, that I didn't realize that both George W. Bush and Obama had both signed executive orders, which are still in force, and it gave the presidents, whoever the president is, sweeping authority to declassify secrets, and here's the important part, do not have to follow the mandatory declassification procedures that all other government officials do. And I'm sorry, I took this off a website. I meant to give it credit. If somebody knows where I took that from, you probably read it too. Could you give credit to wherever this came from? I think it was a good addition to the conversation, but it was on a right-leaning website somewhere. Anyway, in my opinion, if a president who has full sweeping authority to declassify says, take these boxes and put them in my residence, he's declassified them. Who disagrees with me? If the president, who doesn't have to follow any procedure, says, take these top secret things and move them to this non-top secret facility, they're declassified. Now, you could say you don't like that. You could say you don't like it, but how in the world are you going to get a court of 12 people to think that's not the case? Do you think you could get 12 jurors who are going to say, oh, no, that's not declassification? Yes, the president can declassify any way he wants. He doesn't have to use any specific words, doesn't have to write anything down, doesn't have to do a document, doesn't need to tell anybody. Doesn't need to tell anybody. Doesn't need to tell anybody. There are no requirements on the president. That's it. So if you put me on the jury, I'm just going to say, I don't know. I mean, you can't prove that he didn't declassify them, and by his actions, it sure looks like he did. And I would say that's the end of that case. If you can't even know if they're classified or not, why are we even talking about it? Now, keep in mind, when we talk about it in the news, we're just people talking about it. We can act like, we have some certainty that we don't have. Oh, definitely declassified, or, oh, definitely wasn't. But what if you're a jury? The jury would have to be, beyond a reasonable doubt, certain that these had not been declassified. How in the world would any jury be sure of that if the attorney says, he didn't need to follow any rules, and by his actions, it's obvious he meant them to be declassified? Would you agree that if somebody takes something out of a top secret place and intentionally puts it in a low security place, that they have changed the de facto declassification? You don't need to get all 12 to agree to that, but there's no way you don't get 9 of them to agree. Am I wrong? How in the world do you not get at least some of those 12 to say, that is enough of a gray area that I'm not going to convict somebody on that? Let's see, I'm looking at this comment. Or sets anywhere about document. If he writes it anywhere about or sets of documents, they become immediately declassified. Yeah. So I don't know if he said something that would also qualify, but maybe he did. I mean, suppose Trump had said, and this is not in evidence, but suppose he had said to the GSA people who were packing up the boxes, suppose they said, hey, this is top secret stuff, we have to handle it differently. And suppose Trump just said, no, just put it in the boxes and send it to Mar-a-Lago. That's declassification, right? In my opinion, it would be. So I think he's going to be fine on that. I don't think there's any legal risk at all on that.